Namaskar and welcome to the next episode of Raga Parichay, and we look at one of my favorite, Bageshree today. I can't believe, we already, this happens to be the 12th live episode. That means we've been doing this for the last 3 months now. And we made some changes. I made some changes in the approach I was taking from episode to episode, depending basically depending basically on the feedback which I received from all of you. And definitely the feedback received from you has been very, very, very useful and very helpful. I see a lot of regulars here again. Anand Kurumbate to begin with, my friend from Thane, Shekhar Resbud, Nalini Rao saying Namaskar, Neelambari Joshi as usual, Hari Venkatesh as usual, Ashwin as usual. Ashwin is a big resource to me when it comes to film songs particularly. So we made some change in the last session, and we said that we are going to focus now on the phrases. There seems to be something running. I'm sorry. Yeah, so we said in the last session that we really want to focus on phrases of the raga now. And phrases, because phrases are recognizable, and phrases are recognizable as easily as faces are recognizable. You remember those riddles which we get, one of the many WhatsApp forwards. You look at the eyes of many film actresses, and then you are able to actually identify the actress looking just at the eyes or the nose or a portion of the face. Now, if our eyes can do that, and helped, of course, by our recall value of those faces, our ears definitely can recall the phrase connections, and they can, actually tell you, oh, this sounds like that. And that is the key. And I think one just needs to focus a bit and sort of develop this ability to focus on the phrases and try to relate phrases. If we just listen to music consciously and try to look at the phrases, then I think it's very easy to make the connections. Secondly, we have a wonderful repertoire of film songs which are based on various ragas. And most of these film songs, use different portions of the entire raga structure. And so you would see parts of the rag in a particular rag, but then in a particular song. But then you can very easily associate that particular song with that rag. And then you start associating the songs with one another. Oh, this seems similar. So this must be belonging to one parent. And that parent is the melodic theme of the rag itself. Fortunately, we've had dozens of composers, we still call them music directors, who are very conversant with classical music, and most of them had learned classical music too, and they knew how to use the melodic theme given by the rag to make a song. And so, as we've said in one of the sessions, there are different kinds of songs which are based on the rag. Some songs are almost replicas of a bandish, so it's like listening to a bandish. And there it is the easiest to identify because it sounds exactly like composition from the rag itself. Some songs we can very easily say that the composer had this particular rag in his mind and he used it to compose the song. And the third category is where we try to fit in a song to a particular raga structure, and there the association may be a bit blurred. Now these music directors also had their own favorites, and you can very easily. I recall Roshan. Roshan is synonymous with Yaman. I mean the amount of Yaman he is used in composing his songs is phenomenal. So Roshan equal to Yaman. If you look at Open the Air, you would see Pahadi and Pahadi and Pahadi all through. Think of R.D. Burman and you can say that, with conviction that this guy is in love with khamas and the way he has used khamas in many of his melodies. So, such associations are the ones which actually help you build up the recall structure and actually start identifying phrases. Coming to Bageshree, I think we can say that Bageshree belongs to C. Ramchandra. Now, this was pointed out to me by Ashwin. Bageshree is the favorite of Sri Ramchandra, and then if you look into Sri Ramchandra's songs, you find three songs, which absolutely they are perfect fit into Bageshree, without any deviations. So they are easily the category 2 songs. They don't sound like a bandish, but they are so very, what should I say? There is no deviation from the raga structure there. So what we are going to do today is we are going to carry on this exercise of looking at phrases, and we will completely from here onwards focus on developing this ability of identifying phrases and then connecting them. So let us now begin. So before we go to the Sri Ramchandra songs, I am going to play some other songs which are based on Rag Bageshree, not Sri Ramchandra compositions. I will not be playing the Sri Ramchandra compositions, but I will be actually playing them on my flute. I'll not play the recorded version. I'll try to play them on the flute, so that now we can actually start identifying those with the actual rag. So let's begin with the songs based on Bageshree. Now the first song, if you listen to the opening alap, it is like an alap of a classical concert. A wonderful alap, and of course in Lata's voice. And just listen to this. So very clearly, absolutely sounds classical. We will talk about this sounding classical also some other time. So now that's the first one. The second song. So this is actually one of those songs where it has been used for a comedy scene in the movie. But Manade, as always, does a wonderful job of actually beginning with a wonderful alap in Bageshree. We move on. Yeah, there are many more. We will maybe look at a few of them later, but at this moment, I'll not, have many of these now here. We'll just listen to one Marathi Natya Geet. This is from Mruchakati, Vasantrao Deshpande, of course. Yes, so that was a few songs, and now let us actually, look at those Sri Ramchandra songs, and then, those will be our gateway into Bageshree. So, what we are going to do is, I will.
Connected children inside our church.
I'm using one common speaker for both the jobs, so please pardon me. Yeah, so I do not know if you could associate any of the songs which we heard with what I was playing in the beginning. At the beginning, I started off with a bit of Bageshree on my flute. So I do not know. The problem is the flute is playing in a different pitch. Every song is to a different key, to a different scale. And so associations become a bit difficult at that particular point. So now we will now stick to one particular key here, and then try to explore Bageshree together with the songs which I mentioned. Bageshree is, if you remember, we had a session on Bhim Palas. Now Bageshree actually uses exactly the same notes, but then see, it brings out something completely different from the same set of notes. Now this set of notes belongs to the Kafi Saptak. The Kafi Saptak goes Sare, the Ga is Komal. Padani, so the Ni is Komal. I think we saw this when we were talking about Dimpalas. Bageshree becomes a lot more romantic compared to Bhimpalas. So let's try and look at the reasons for that. One fundamental reason which I see, the Tanpura shifts from the Pancham bass to the Madhyam bass. I don't want to sound technical here, but this gives a completely different screen in the background for me. The Tanpura can be used with two settings, at least two settings, and this uses the one with, the other one would sound like. Now I'm just changing the Tanpura, changes the background. So what happens is I keep getting this as a reference note instead of the pa, I keep getting ma as the reference. So this rag is shifting the entire focus to the madhyam. Nidasa is the opening statement. And then to jump to the Madhyam prominence, the Ma is very prominent, and the Ma Ga connection is with a beautiful mean, and the prominent Re. Dhani sa ma 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 ga ga re re mi sa. The first Sri Ramachandra song, na bole na bole na bole re. And then the song moves further. So let's see what happens after this. So the next phrase is Ga ma tha tha dha is prominent again. Ga ma tha ma, the ma prominence retains. Ga ma tha tha ma. Back to the ga. Madha ga ma tha sa ga ma tha dha ma ga. So the ga actually is ma ga re 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 always is sa re sa. So sa ni da ni sa. And then we move on to the knee. To the sa, ma da ni da. Back to the song. the song goes further. The ma. So what happens to the pa? We haven't touched the pa yet. Pa has a wonderful play in Bageshree, you know. One way of doing it is Dhama pa dhaga dhaga gama. Another way. Or then when you go into fast tans, you could even come down. Sa dani sa ga ma dha ma dani sa ni da da. The next song is Mohabbat Hina Jo Samajhe. See, now Sri Ramchandra has used, different portions of the entire range. For example, so what is a range? Range is the different saptaks I use. So I have this sa. So the first song is accommodated in the first part, the Purvanga. And the next one. So it goes into the middle portion, and the third song from Anarkali, Jagadar de Ishq Jana, it starts off in the higher portion. See, again conforming to the Bageshree. So if you recall the first song which we heard, it was exactly the same. Jao Jao Nanda Ke Lala was exactly the same phrase. And what does Bageshree tell you? So that is Bageshree. Without getting into the grammar of the rag, we decided last time that we will not actually get into the grammar. We will make use of ragam only to confirm the phrases and make them, sort of identifiable. But otherwise, what we actually need to do is, recall these phrases and try to associate them and make these connections. Oh, this portion of this song looks similar to that portion of that song. That is important. And for that, you need to do some work. But all these songs are quite enjoyable. Sunil Gupte points out that there are two songs of Madhumati in Bageshree. A wonderful thing. Madhumati was Salil Chaudhary. I recall this song. So if you see, what happens is there is a slight deviation. There is a use of slight touch of Shuddha Gandhar there. And the interlude of the song is another song, Gadi Gadi, Mera Dil Dhatke. And this was Salil Chaudhary's khasiyat. He used to, his interludes used to be songs in themselves, And this he has done in many, many songs. So that brings us to, let's look at rags which are closer to Bageshree. Again with the Madhyam prominent. The first one very near to Bageshree is Abhogi. What Abhogi does is Abhogi omits the Komal Nishad. It omits this note. There are some beautiful Marathi songs based on Abhogi. Another rag which is very close to Bageshree is Rageshree. It's not very close really, it sounds very different. It's basically what Rageshree does is it changes the it sounds sounds different, it also treats the connections like much differently than Bageshree. Bageshree has a lot of circular connections. Bageshree has a lot of means. Bageshree has a lot of play around in the connections, and that is what makes Bageshree a big rag. With the and it also offers a whole lot of developmental potential because of various pairs which you can use to expand the rag. So that is about Bageshree. Let's take a slight break here and look at what is happening on the questions front. Anil Gurjar says hi, Upendra Datta as usual. Ravindra Mirashi. Hari Venkatesh has a question. You had played Sare Gama Pa Dha Ni Sa, but typically we heard Aaron without Re and Pa. Is Re and Pa present in actual Aaroha or okay in Bageshree
Connected to rhythms like our church.
the this is the aaroha, so it is omitting the re. So saga mada, it goes saga mada. But then when you come down, it can do the re aarohi from that point on. Ma ga re re ga ma ga re sa. It can do that. But otherwise, it omits the re and the pa. Of course, the pa happens only in the avroha, and even in that special way which I explained. Sunil Gupte, two songs of Madhumati. Yes, I mentioned them. Hari Venkatesh mentions this is very close to main Carnatic rag. Yeah, Kharar Priya is more like the Kafi Dhat. It's so it's more like the male Karta rag. Atul Kulkarni, Jaga Darde Ishq Jaga from Anarkali. I played that. Joy says it's a very sweet. Yes, sweetness comes out of, sweetness is what gives it that romantic potential. And sweetness actually comes from the Komal Gandhar, Komal Nishad combination. And of course the connections. The circular connections make it very melodic, very mellifluous, if I can use the right word. Neelambari Joshi mentions Malmali Tarunya Maze. Yeah, that's what I was referring to, when I said there are some beautiful songs in Marathi. That is on Rageshree. So we don't seem to have more questions today. Yes. So now let's move on further and listen to a couple of bandishes. We will begin with a very old bandish sung by Bade Ghulam Ali Khan. We'll just play just the mukda, just to recall it. Yeah, and then we will also go on to listen to another bandish sung by Maninitai Rajurkar. That was typical Malinitai playing with Illai there. So I must mention here, the rags, big rags like Bageshree, Malcolms, or any other big rag. We will talk about big and small in the next session maybe. What is a big rag and what is a small rag? But the rags which these big rags actually you should listen to a lot of vilambit khayals, where you can actually see the development happening. You can see every swar being developed in its own way, and then the progressing. So I think the real texture of the rag would come in the we. I'm not very happy, playing these Drut bandishes here as references. Actually, the rag is seen more in the Vilambit bandish, where you actually see the swara connections. You see the swara connections being developed. So you should listen to a lot of Vilambit developments of all the rags. That is where you can look at different portions, as I said. What happens around this, what happens when you move there, what happens when you include a lot many swara instead of just two or three swara. These are the questions you can keep asking yourself, and you can always ask those questions here too, and we will find a way to move forward in this direction. So now I'll play Mukhda of Druta Bandish just to. I love this bandish, but I think we are. So I'll just play. See, this bandish is very liberally making the use of. Yes, and let's once again look at the question board. There was one I skipped. Yeah, Bridge Khajino. Can you lower the camera so your fingering can be observed? I am using a phone camera here, and I'm trying to make the most of this space here. To see my flute, we need to place the camera away, and that is posing some problem with the sound level. So probably next time I'll try, and he wants to see the entire flute so he can see my fingers. I'll try and do that next time. And then we come down. Can you please recommend few more beautiful compositions in Bageshree in classical? I have been asked this many times, in all the workshops and wherever. I always believed that you should be making your own choices, and you should actually, there is so much available on the internet now that you don't really have to you don't really have to search a lot also. Like the Hindi film songs, if you really want to look at Hindi film songs based actually on the rags, then I think unfortunately we have to move back to the 70s and before that. Uh, in place of classical music, what I would suggest is, I think I made this suggestion earlier. Like we are now, taking one rag in a week, I think you should stick to one rag and try to listen to that rag as much as possible for the whole week. Listen to all the vocalists, listen to the instruments, see if there is a difference between how the vocalist represents a rag and what happens on an instrument. How different vocalists have presented the rag. Forget about the gharanas and all that. Just listen to the artists, make your own choices. Listen to a lot of artists. Stick to one period and listen to some artists from that period. Then move on to the next decade and move on to the next decade. Of course, listen to a lot of current artists and try to make your own connections. This is a long-term exercise. It's not a short-term thing. You listen to these three and you know the rag. It doesn't happen that way. Because like we learn, we how does one teach a rag? Everybody, every artist has his own image of a rag, and there is a universal image of the rag also amongst all the artists, and that is why music exists. Because otherwise, this unless this image is universally identifiable, it would not mean so much to a listener. So try to look at that image, and you will see, that image portrayed differently by different artists, different instruments. Flute would do things differently than a sitar. So what happens? And of course, there is a whole lot of material available on RagaQuest for you to, learn some concepts if you feel, handicapped at some point of time. So that's it then, and any new film songs that you can name. I'll give this as an exercise to you. You find out the songs based on Bageshree made after 1980. Suhas is not going to like my comment. Yes, I think we seem to be coming to the end of this session. I was a bit apprehensive in the beginning because MSEV was playing hide and seek today, and we didn't have power for a long time. But luckily, our session went through well without any hiccups. What do we do next week? I was debating between Malcolm's and Malhar, but assuming and hoping that monsoon will set in by the end of next week, I think we will do Malhar. And there were a couple of, I remember a couple of participants eagerly awaiting Malhar, and I had said that let it rain and then we will go to Malhar. So I think next week at next Saturday we'll do Malhar. And Malhar is a big, huge thing, and we will take a closer look at Malhar. So you can, listen to Malhar for the whole week, and so that you have a lot of questions to ask when you actually join in for this session. So thank you very much for joining in for this session, and as usual, please subscribe, hit that bell there, ask your friends to subscribe, let the good word go around, and let people enjoy music. Thank you, and bye-bye.